Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Tech Talk today. My name is Vania Ferramacho and I have with me my colleague Luis Pinheiro, and we are both solution architects within the Microsoft Fast Track team. We are here today to present what is new in Wave 1 for PPAC, Power Platform Admin Center. In the agenda for today, we have a global view around PPAC and the actions we have available when we start using Dynamics 365. This will be more a review since this Tech Talk is a follow-up of the one we presented back in March. Then we will have PPAC Wave 1 news around security roles, application users, and environment settings. That Wave 1 also brought enhancements on the tooling and automation. So we'll have a look into DLP new options, some analytics at tenant level. We will see that we have the opportunity to take data into Azure Data Lakes, application insights, and finally some news on the platform governance. At the end, before a very quick review on roadmap links and information available on our docs site. Here on the first one, the global view. So we will start like I was mentioned. So as mentioned before, this global view was created and shared back in March on the Tech Talk that is mentioned here on the slide. As a summary, we put this together so we can have a graphical layout around the actions we need to conduct when we first start using Dynamics 365. So the baseline will be always PPAC and starts with provisioning an environment and then M365 for the user access. So then you go for the second phase that we have identified as other admin portals, where you can complete the rest of the configurations, and it can be done in one of these portals we have available at the moment. So we just mark it these four: Make, Power Automate, Portal Management, and Virtual Agents. The rest of the work around your environments would focus on maintenance, monitoring, and metrics of or usage analysis. So on these stages, we want to describe the options we have available in PPAC, like the ones we have for database maintenance or analysis database usage, for example. So in case you would like to go deep into some of these details, we encourage you to watch the technical talk that is mentioned on the slide. So like I mentioned before, this was presented back in March and is also available here on the community site. And then the second part, so it's the enhancements around the console, the PPAC console. So we will point out here security roles, application users, and environment settings. So we'll just highlight the enhancements around these three areas. So first one, so since June, we have available this new feature that allows administrators to manage security roles for their CE users directly into PPAC. Okay, so opposite of what we had in the past, that you had to go to access to CE and then you had to access to the security role to do all the changes around the security role. So you just need to access to the environment, go to settings, and then users, and select the user you want to manage. So before you select the user, you don't see this new button, this manage security rules. So you need to select the user, and then you finally click on the manage security rules button, and it will open a box with all the security rules available in the system. And from that point, you can just select the ones you would like to add or remove it, and then just save it and the information will be added to the user, and there is no need to go directly to the CE. On the application users, so we have here the users plus permissions option that we already have in PPAC, in Power Platform Admin Center, and this will now allows you to management also the application user. So from this screen, you can easily create an unlicensed application users for your environment. Okay, so this application user will be given access to your environment data on behalf of the user who is using the application. All custom created application users can be managed from here directly. Okay, so one note here is that Microsoft first party app users can be updated and doesn't show up here on this screen. So around the environment settings, so for the environments that have Dataverse provisioned, you are now able to configure the email server profiles, okay, using this modern user interface in Power Platform Admin Center. So you don't need to go to the legacy web client interface, but you just access to your environment settings, and then here you can configure the synchronization method. So you can select what is the server profile that you would like to use, incoming email, outgoing email, and what is the method that you would like to use for appointments, contacts, and tasks. So now you can do everything here. So this was become public in June, and the global availability will be in September. Then here on the second part, so automation and tooling. Okay, so like I mentioned in the beginning, so we will review data loss prevention. So we have some news around the rules that and how we can create the rules, insights, analytics, and then the platform governance. So the first one here is so the highlights that we are going to discuss is the action control. Okay, so first is custom connectors, action control, and then endpoint filtering. So here on the first one, in 2021 release wave 1, we are providing support to define an order access control list in order to classify the custom connectors, host URL endpoints as business, non-business, or blocked, and this will be at tenant level. Tenant admins will see a new tab in data policies wizard called custom connectors, which will allow you to specify a list of allow and deny URL patterns for custom connectors. Wildcard is supported for pattern matching within host URLs. So here the rule for the wildcard will always be the last entry in the list, which applies to all custom connectors, not matched by any other previous rule. The administrators can tag the wildcard pattern to blocked business, non-business, or ignore like it is in the picture. So by default, the pattern is set up as ignore for all new DLP policies. At environment level, so the environment admins can now see all custom connectors in their environments alongside of the pre-built connectors in this connector tab inside data policies wizard. So like they do with the pre-built connectors, they can now classify as blocked business and non-business categories too. Okay, so custom connectors that are not explicitly classified will be added to a default group. In addition to pattern matching, we will also support individual custom connector classifications for the environment level policies using the user interface, so using Power Platform Admin Center. So this will remove the current restrictions for custom connectors where the admin had to access to PowerShell to classify it inside the environment. So here with the action control. So so here, admins can safely enable business use cases using Microsoft Power Platform with the ability to control specific actions for the connectors without the need to block the entire connector in the environment. Okay, so for example, here we have the SQL Server connector, and then we can specify the actions that we have there. So we have delete row, execute the SQL query, execute stop procedure, and so on. So we can have you can have an allowed action or blocked actions. Okay. So in this release, in this Wave 1 release, we are providing support to allow or deny individual actions associated with the connector, in addition to the existing business, non-business, or blocked categories that we can specify on the data loss prevention rules. Here on the endpoint filtering. So here so endpoint filtering allows administrators to govern at a fine grain which specific endpoints that will be allowed or will be blocked in the environment at the environment level or at tenant level. Have in mind that when we specify anything at tenant level, we are applying that to all the environments inside the tenant. So this facility will be, is available for HTTP with Azure AD, HTTP webhook, SQL Server, Dataverse, Azure Blob Storage, and the SMTP connection endpoints. Okay, so exactly the same. So you need to go to the connection, and then you specify here allow or deny. And we came to insights. So, Luis, the floor is yours if you want.
Okay, Vanya, thank you. Regarding the next points, which are the insights, the analytics, the platform governance, and the roadmap. Specifically for the insights, by making it possible to gain insights into errors and performance issues with Microsoft Dataverse and model-driven apps, your business can improve the user experience through a better monitoring and the resolution of the production issues as well as proactive maintenance. In addition, since the platform log data is itself available, in many cases, it will reduce the need for you to write custom code for errors and performance. So regarding the features itself, you can opt in to the export production environment platform logged errors and performance data for unified interface form loads, plugins, and platform APIs through the PPAC, the Power Platform Admin Center. This data in Application Insight will allow you and your teams to gain deeper insights through both out-of-the-box and custom reports. The key here is that this enables self-serve and improve the outcome for both reactive and proactive scenarios. So if you look at the reactive scenarios, when an incident is raised by the users, your support team can leverage application insights to quickly view the metrics based off the user ID or the gain insights into details like what is the issue specifically to a single user, or does it applicable to all the users? Has a particular API calls from the unified interface from being failing in a certain region, causing poor performance, this kind of questions. How was the API performing prior to our reported issues, for instance? With this information, your support team will be able to triage the issues, to understand if the issue was caused by a custom code or a platform code, and then based on that, take the action accordingly. Regarding the proactive scenarios, this is based on alerts. And if we reach performance thresholds for form loads and API calls or plugins, this can be set. This can be set up in the application inside. And when these thresholds are reached, the alerts will allow proactive maintenance. So this is for the proactive scenarios. And the data available in your application inside will also light up out-of-the-box reports for user activity with specific forms and will allow admins to understand the adoption blockers and the drivers behind it. Regarding the cross-tenant analytics, admins will be able to understand the usage with metrics like the MAU, the monthly active users, the kind of engagement with the return users, and the list of application in use and not in use at the tenant level to drive the right investment. For instance, by making it possible to quickly gain insight into the usage and inventory metrics, you could direct more resources into a heavily used application. And looking at the PPAC, Microsoft Power Platform Service Admin, Dynamics 365 Admin, Microsoft 365 Global Admin will be able, all these admins will be able to opt in to out-of-the-box tenant reports for Power Apps with options to drill down to the environment level. So if we look at the environment level admins specifically, the views are automatically filtered to only include the environments they manage. So here we have several kind of reports that can be accessed. We can see, for instance, the usage reports, which will provide insight into MAU, sessions, new and return users, and a list of apps in use with the filter for app type, connector tiers, country, device platform, and player versions. For the maker activity report, it will provide details like total apps, active apps, app created in the last 30 days, environments with apps, total makers, app creation trend, and maker trend. Finally, the inventory reports list all the application with the owner, published dates, the environment it belongs to, the last launch date, and the type of app. Are we speaking about Canvas? Are we speaking about model-driven app? Well, there will be filter for apps type, connector tiers, and country. Regarding the telemetry and the data export to Microsoft Azure Data Lake, using your own Azure Data Lake allow you to slice and dice the data based on your unique requirements. So you can build custom reports with Power BI, including views at the individual business unit level and detailed app level reports at the tenant and environment level. Having the data in your own data lake also means that data can be stored for the duration as is required by your organization data retention policies. Looking at the features itself, you can opt in to export all your tenant data into your own Azure Data Lake storage instance without having to write any code. So there is some process there. You will need to have Azure Data Lake storage set up prior to setting up the daily data export via the PPAC, the Power Platform Admin Center. Once set up, the data will be made available in the Common Data Model, CDM schema. The CDM-based metadata make it possible for data and its meaning to be shared across applications and business processes, such as Microsoft Power Apps, Power BI, Dynamics 365, and Azure. After the first data export, there will be incremental daily updates. Okay, and based on that, you will be able to start building your report and dashboards. And for this slide, I believe this is it. Here, regarding the governance, we have three topics there: the user configuration, the email exfiltration, and the storage entitlement. So regarding the first one, the user configuration, and we will look at all of them one by one very quickly next to this slide. The purpose here is to allow admins to scale security management by managing roles for groups and users in environments with Microsoft Dataverse database using the PPAC. Regarding the email exfiltration, admins can safely allow Microsoft 365 mail connectors to be used within Microsoft Power Platform and ensure that these cannot be leveraged to exfiltrate emails to external domains by setting up exchange mail rules. Finally, storage entitlement. The point here is just to share with you what will happen and the fact that we will increase the storage capacity. So let's dig into each of them. Regarding the user security, the environment and the user security configuration experience will be lit up in the Power Platform Admin Center, the PPAC. Admins will be able to create and manage can create and manage Dataverse group team end-to-end through a modern, simple, and coherent experience with the PPAC. Extending today's ability to associate an Azure Active Directory group to an environment, admins can also assign roles to a group they associate to an environment. So that as users in the group get provisioned to the environment, they will automatically inherit their group's roles and have instant access to the environment resources and data based on the roles assigned. To add users to an environment, admin can now add the entire group in one go through a Dataverse group team creation experience. Extending today the security role management experience, admins can not only assign individual users, owner teams, access teams to a role, but they can also assign Azure AD group to a role. When managing roles for users, admins can easily differentiate between roles they directly assign to a user versus roles they inherited through a Dataverse group team membership. Admins can access an entry point from the Power Platform Admin Center to create and manage application users and their roles in an environment. Moving on for the email and exfiltration blocking part, admins can set up exchange mail flow rules to monitor or block emails sent by Power Automate and or Power Apps using the Microsoft 365 Outlook connector. And here there are some tips and tricks that we would like to share with you. The SMTP header sent by Microsoft Power Platform will include Microsoft Power Automate and Microsoft Power Apps with the header type XMS mail application. And further, in order to identify the operation ID, a reserved word, forward, reply, or send, is inserted with the header type XMS mail operation type. And in addition, for admins to exempt specific app or flow or environment from exfiltration blocking rules, where they facilitate legitimate business use cases, admin can leverage the app or the flow ID or the environment ID value that will be added to the SMTP headers published by Microsoft Power Platform. Finally, and regarding the storage entitlement, we received your feedback and we will increase the storage entitlement of the Microsoft 365 plan. Currently, customer only get 1 gig default database entitlement, but we are planning to increase it. And we should have more information and more news in September 2021. And finally, regarding the roadmap, I would like to just ensure that we are all aligned there. There is 2 links that you have there, one from the Power Platform and one from Dynamics 365. And both these links are basically the release plan, which has been available since July 14, 2021. Since August 2nd, you have access to the early access and basically you can test and validate the new features and capabilities that will be part of the 2021 release wave 2. And today we release, and we should release the 11 additional language for the release plan. And the last point I would like to highlight there, it's just to to keep you up to date and be ready for October 1st, 2020, when the general availability for the release wave 2 will start through the region, and probably in the next weeks, your environment will also receive will be general available for the release wave 2. And with that, Vanya, I conclude my part.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis. Thank you, everyone, for attending today this Tech Talk together with us. I hope everyone found useful these tips around the release wave 1 for PPAC. Thank you very much.
Thank you.